Well, good evening. It's March the 7th, 2023. Our regular board business meeting is at 5 o'clock. Let us please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and then followed by the Kids at Hope Pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As an adult and treasure hunter, I am committed to search for all the talent, skills, and intelligence that exist in all children and youth. I believe all children are capable of success, no exceptions. This time we're going to turn it over to the Mr. Superintendent for special orders of business.
Okay, first, I'd like to introduce the students from Treasure Coast High School under the direction of Miss Amber Is it Salo?
You stole my
Salo?
job. That was my
I'm
fault.
sorry.
No wonder why you're
just-
looking a little confused.
Yes, you just turned
Mrs.
it over to
Salo,
me.
please come on up from Treasure Coast High School. Yes, give Treasure Coast High School a hand. Thank you. Principal Todd Smith, Assistant Principal Alex OJ is here. Mr. OJ, you got anybody else here with you guys? I can't see. Who is it? Oh, okay. There he is. Glad to have you all here. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent.
Thank you, Treasure Coach. Thank you, Miss Salo. I almost thought we almost had a little wobble there.
Yeah.
Thought you were going to throw your head back and let your shoulders go.
I enjoyed that performance. Thank you, Treasure Coast. I really, truly appreciate you being here tonight. And can we acknowledge the parents? If you're a parent of one of the students who just performed, can you raise your hand? All right.
Wow. Thank you so much.
With that being said, I'm going to bring up our Chief Communications Officer, Miss Lydia Martin, to get our program started. Thanks, Lydia.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman Ingersoll, Superintendent Dr. Prince, and school board members. At this time, I'd like to invite Dr. Kevin Perry, Assistant to the Superintendent, who will provide us with a recognition and proclamation for Arts in the School Month.
Chairman Ingersoll, School Board Member, Superintendent Prince. March has been designated by the National Dance Education Organization as Dance in Our Schools Month, by National Association for Music Education as Music in Our Schools Month, by the National Theater Association as Theater in Our Schools Month, and by the Council for Art Education as Youth Art Month. Together they combine to form National Arts in Our Schools Month, which recognizes the fact that all children deserve arts-rich schools, those with high-quality arts programs and comprehensive course offerings that benefit students in and outside of the art or dance studio, music room, or stage. This month-long event occurs each March, and its goal is to stress the importance of quality arts education programs in our schools. It also ensures that America's students have access to a comprehensive, sequential arts education taught by highly qualified arts educators. The benefits of art education form the basis of world-class standards developed by the United States Department of Education and the National Endowment for the Arts. And I'm proud to say they're celebrated here in St. Lucie Public Schools. At this time, I'd like to introduce Ms. Stephanie Ramirez, art teacher at Westgate K-8 and one of our finalists for Teacher of the Year, and Mr. Brian Host, band director at St. Lucie West Centennial High School, one of the finalists for Distinguished Minority Educator of the Year, to present our Arts in Our Schools Month proclamation. Ms. Ramirez, Mr. Host.
Whereas March has been designated by the National Dance Education Organization as Dance in Our Schools Month, by the National Association for Music Education as Music in Our Schools Month, by the National Theater Association as Theater in Our Schools Month, and by the Council for Art Education as Youth Art Month, and whereas arts-rich schools with those with high-quality arts programs and comprehensive course offerings benefit students in and outside of the art or dance studio, music room, or stage. And whereas National Arts in Our Schools Month recognizes the fact that all children deserve arts-rich schools and is supported by the National Association for Music, Art, Dance, and Theater in cooperation with the U.S. Department of Education. And whereas research increasingly shows that arts education heightens engagement for all students and learning in the arts uniquely equips students with the skills and creativity, divergent thinking, problem solving, and teamwork that they need to be college and career ready. These benefits of arts education form the basis for world-class standards developed by the United States Department of Education and the National Endowment for the Arts.
And whereas, like all academic areas, students of the arts are successful because of the teachers who are highly skilled, knowledgeable of developments in their fields, and motivated. Arts education is essential for all students of St. Lucie Public Schools as part of a well-rounded education. And whereas March is packed with great reasons to focus on arts education in our schools, and all citizens are urged to advocate, celebrate, and participate to show their support for all music, art, dance, and theater programs. Now, Therefore, be it resolved, should I continue? Okay. The School Board of St. Lucie County does hereby proclaim the month of March 2023 as Arts in Our Schools Month in St. Lucie Public Schools on this 7th day of March 2023.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent, board members. Thank you to our arts teachers here. If I may, Mr. Chair, we have a few other arts educators that are here with us, so I'm going to ask them to stand. You've already met Ms. Salo. Please stand, Amber, Ms. Hopkins, Mr. Ingram, arts educators that are here tonight as well, so we're glad to have them with us. As we continue our Arts in Our Schools Month celebration, we'd like to recognize some music students for their outstanding musical performance. Now, we all have heard of athletes or athletic teams that, quote unquote, make it to state. Well, these students also made it to state. Acceptance into one of these elite groups is a direct result of the talent, dedication, and musicianship of these accomplished students and the superior instruction provided to them by their dynamic music teachers. Once selected, these students are afforded the opportunity to perform at the highest level with peers from across the 67 counties in the state. These students will forever be recognized as all-state musicians. Tonight, joining us, I'm gonna try to get it right, Lucas Hung, who is from Lincoln Park Academy, all-state student, band student. Did I? Giselle Cisneros from Lincoln Park Academy, who was in the All-State Orchestra. We have MPAs going on right now for chorus, so Angelina Gonzalez and Shelley Orlean are not here because of that. But from Fort Pierce Central High School, Michael Moore, All-State SSAA choir member. From Treasure Coast High School, a member of the All-State Band, Parker Button. And from Treasure Coast High School, a member of the Tri-State Band. Tri-State is from the state of Florida, Georgia, and Alabama, Amaya Hernandez. Oh, I'm sorry, I think I'm missing one. Yasmin Fantantoni from Samuel Gaines Academy. I apologize. Thank you. I got ahead of myself. From Samuel Gaines Academy, and she was a member of the All-State Middle School Band. Can I get the parents of these wonderful All-State musicians to please stand? And their teachers? Thank you so much, parents. Take your time. It's photo op. It's okay. We love photos here. I knew you'd like that, Mr. Ingersoll. One more time for these wonderful students. St. Lucie Public Schools has a rich and storied history of supporting the arts. We also have a wonderful community who approved the referendum that also supports the arts. In doing so, music, art, dance, and theater education is important to the curriculum of all our students. But we can't help but somehow ask, what if? We live in an arts-rich school district. And if you have a moment, make sure you step in the lobby and look up to the second floor and see the beautiful signage that's been created by our publishing department, Lydia's department, and the art museum that's going on each floor in the building, as well as we too help schools celebrate Arts in Our Schools Month here at the district office.
Thank you, Dr. Perry. At this time, I would like to invite Mark Dinocio, Wellness Manager, to the podium, who will provide a special recognition for a donation to our school district.
Good afternoon, Chairman Ingersoll, Superintendent Prince, board members. It's my pleasure to announce that I have secured a large donation of fitness and exercise equipment this past fall. As I was performing my community outreach check-ins, I had the pleasure of meeting Mr. Adam Arnett, the owner of Fitness and Go here in St. Lucie West. Through conversation, Mr. Arnett was looking to donate a tremendous amount of fitness and exercise equipment to our school district. Adam felt because he is a new member to our community, he wanted to help out with our district in providing our students with some good quality exercise equipment. His purpose is to also provide students with the option to hopefully utilize his gym center for further use and training. Furthermore, Adam and I are also in communications on offering a district staff membership discount. Mr. Arnett donated an estimated total of $252,000 worth of equipment on 11/26/22, and with the help of operations, it is currently stored at our North County warehouse. I've met with all athletic directors from each high school where they went through and selected each item that they wanted. We are currently now still in the process of delivering some of that equipment to their schools, with about 2 left to go. I would like to thank operations and the support of my department for guiding me and Adam through this process, and of course, Mr. Arnett for his wonderful donation. And with that being said, let me introduce you to Mr. Adam Arnett, the owner of Fitness and Go.
I just want to say Mark did an awesome job organizing this, setting it up. It was not an easy feat, lots of equipment to be donated. I am new to the area and just wanted to make sure that the local sports teams, that they had a better chance at, being strong and go out there and represent the community and the school district and win some state championships. So hopefully the bench press and all the strength they gain from the equipment will lead to some state championships and some conference championships as well. So just proud to be part of the community. You guys are doing a great job as a school board and everything else, and just glad I could put a little helping hand towards making somebody's school experience that much better. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you again, Mr. Arnett, for your generous donation. At this time, I'd like to move forward with our Star Awards. The first recipient for this evening is Dr. Joseph Noel. He is a STEAM advocate and social studies teacher at Fort Pierce Westwood Academy. He was nominated by Principal Nicole Talese from Port St. Lucie High School. She wanted to recognize Dr. Noel for going above and beyond the realm of his teaching position and having a positive influence even beyond the walls of his own campus. Mr. Noel, Dr. Noel, recently welcomed one of her new teachers from Port St. Lucie High School over to his campus and into his classroom to observe him teaching and infusing engagement strategies into the lesson so that the new teacher could increase his own teacher toolbox and in turn improve the quality of instruction for his students. Dr. Noel is a blessing, and the Port St. Lucie High School is grateful to him for giving so freely of his time and effort. Congratulations. Okay, congratulations. And next, we'd like to recognize Ms. Jennifer D. Donato, a certification specialist from right here in our Human Resources Department. She was nominated by the principal at Southern Oaks, Brad Lehman. He states that he would like her recognized for her recent and ongoing support of his teachers navigating certification. Most recently, her effective and professional continuous communication with the teachers and administration resulted in a timely transition to their certification status. Her efforts are very much appreciated and deserve recognition. So congratulations and thank you. All right, congratulations and thank you. And that concludes our special recognitions for this evening.
All righty. Do we have an ESOL report? Did any of us get an email? No. All righty. CWA report? St. Lucie, the Youth Advisory Council, and actually I got an email for that one, and Mrs. Taylor couldn't be here today, so I'm going to read it into the record. Good evening, Chairman Ingersoll, school board members, and Superintendent Prince. Thank you for sharing the Youth Advisory remarks in my absence. During the February St. Lucie County Public Schools Youth Advisory meeting, Senior Council Member Catherine Pinto, representing Lincoln Park Academy, provided a presentation on mental health resources in schools. This presentation generated an open discussion allowing council members and faculty advisors to share their perspective. We intend to revisit this discussion in future meetings. Further, the Youth Advisory Council Instagram page has been officially announced or launched at SLPS_YAC. On behalf of the council, I want to thank Ms. Lydia Martin and Ms. Jamie Barbara for our working with us and having our page come to fruition. Currently, the Communication Outreach Committee and its chair, Emma Morgan, are working on developing ideas and methods to promote the account with students across our district. We are proud of this accomplishment we've made, and we're looking forward to the possibilities to come. The council's next meeting is scheduled for Tuesday, March 21st, 2023, and will be hosted at Port St. Lucie High School. Thank you again for the Youth Advisory Council. Wishes and be safe and a relaxing spring break. And that's the end. That was nice. Okay, board members, we're moving to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda?
So, second.
I have a motion, a second. Seeing no discussion, can I have a favor, a motion? Not motion. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion carries.
What's this for?
We're just adopting the consent agenda, and now I'm going to move to take the recommendation of the superintendent. Yes,
I
ma'am.
recommend the board approve the consent agenda as submitted.
Okay, we have a recommendation of the superintendent. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion, and do I have a second? Second, discussion? Mrs. Richardson?
Discussion. So I'd like to put item number 11 for discussion.
Pull, okay. Would you like to pull it for a separate vote or discussion?
Just discussion.
Okay, yes, ma'am. Let's go ahead and discuss.
So,
I think you need to talk into the microphone. Yep, that's what I think I'm hearing.
all right, so item number 11, I see here where we have, it's more questions than discussion, actually, but we have.
I'm sorry, I missed that. It's more what?
Questions?
Oh, questions. Yes, ma'am.
Questions. The $20,000, 11-1, and how much is it? $38,984 for 11-2. It says unexpected or unforeseen reimbursable expenses. What are those?
Unforeseen.
Mr. Superintendent.
Yes.
Mr. O'Leary? No, this is item 11.1. It's the agreement with Schenkel Schultz Architectural Services. Whenever you have large jobs, you have unforeseen expenses. This is standard for a large project.
So these are for additional services, Mrs. Richardson, for reimbursable items. This is include preparing like renderings, presentation boards, extra plans that we need for staff to review, those types of things. That's for the triple D, 11.1.
And I'm going ahead and follow up with item 11.2, Mrs. Richardson.
11.2 is the architect scope of the original agreement includes surveying the site. Upon completion of the site survey, it was determined that there are 5 gopher tortoises burrows out in that area which need to be mitigated. So that's an additional expense that will be relocating those gopher tortoises.
Okay, so the tortoises, the architect is going to relocate the tortoises at $38,984.
Yes, ma'am, we'll have to bring in a service. It's not the architect themselves. Part of their agreement was during that site survey, we discovered the tortoises after that survey period. So we'll be bringing in a company to relocate those tortoises.
Again, my question is, so the architect is going to be responsible for relocating the tortoises?
Yes, ma'am.
The 4 tortoises at $38,984?
Yes, ma'am.
And so that's all, that money is just for relocating the tortoises, nothing else?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so let me go back to 11.1. You said I couldn't understand what you were saying for the 20,000. Could you repeat what that's for?
Sure, those are additional items that are included, but not limited to preparing renderings, the renderings of the facility. It also is for presentation boards, printing of large formats of plans and sets of drawings that we need. Those are, in addition, those are going to be for our owner copies, for our building code administrator, Bob Massa, to review as well and sign off on.
So then are we going to need that information as well for item 11.2, Westwood? Are they going to need those? Is that going to be additional when it's Westwood time, in addition to that 38,000 $984?
At this time, we do not have that need for that, but it could come up in the process, yes. But right now, it's not there.
Okay, so when we were doing this contract, I guess we didn't know that these sketchings, drawing, renderings was going to be an issue?
It's not an issue, it's this, we were asking for additional copies of that. So we needed further copies of the plans. We've done some adjustments to that, so it's an additional monies for the additional plans and renderings that we asked for.
So you did changes to the original
Yes,
plans?
yes.
Okay, and what, are those changes anything to do with the CET courses that are offered at the school?
No, this was the overall plans, the building structure plans for all the programming that we've put in for design of the building, sorry. So there were
Okay.
some additional movements within the structures that we had to add.
In those designs that we have at the schools, in those designs, you have the CTE courses per school, is that correct?
Yes, that's part of the
Okay,
programming. Yes,
okay,
ma'am.
all right. That's part of the architectural
Yes.
design, because you have to make it specific to the school.
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, I would like to, I'm sure it's on the design, but what are the courses that are offered at, or going to be offered at the new high school and also Westwood? If you could supply me with that, please, I'd appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. I'll make sure we.
You have that ready? You don't have to go research or anything, you
No,
have that ready?
I have it not present
Okay,
with me
and
right
how
now,
long
but I
will
can
it
get
take?
I have that answer right now. It's allied health, exercise health.
I need it, okay, I would like you, Mr. Superintendent, if you could
Okay.
give it to me in writing, if you
Yes.
could, just leave it on my desk. But go ahead, Mr. Ingersoll, if you please, you could tell me at,
Sure, let me try to answer this question. I saw it today because our superintendent is that great. It was all the health areas, and Ms. Holly, you can help me out too if you remember. It was all the health areas along the corridor, so it was going to be allied health. Now I just forgot. All right, help me
So
out.
we'll provide those to you, Mrs.
You remember?
Richardson, but there's logistics, allied health. We have lots of the programs going in there.
The superintendent knows it.
It's allied health, global logistics,
That was the one.
hospitality. Like every business and industry that's going in the Tradition Corridor, that will be part of the CTE program. There was a slide that was provided today at the EDC Business Luncheon, and I'd be happy to provide that slide to you, Mrs. Richardson, along with the information you requested for Fort Pierce Westwood.
I honestly only need in writing just the different CTE courses for the different schools, that's all.
Okay, you'll have it tomorrow.
If you could, please, I'd appreciate that. I think, therefore, then you answered my question, Superintendent, thank you.
Mr. Terrence, Mr. O'Leary, just one thing I do need to clarify. The one for Shingle Salts for Westwood, removing the turtles, that was for them to identify it. There's going to be another $10,000 per turtle to remove. Typically, it's $5,000 to $10,000 to remove a tortoise. So it'll end up being $20,000 to $50,000.
So in addition to the $38,984, we have
Yes,
40
ma'am.
40
Yes, ma'am.
more $1,000, because
Yes,
it's
ma'am.
$10,000 per tortoise.
Yes, ma'am.
And then there
We're
might
lucky
be,
that we only have 4 or 5. We're lucky
and
that
then
we're
there
fine on
might
that.
be an additional maybe $20,000 for any special renderings or anything else that may come up.
I don't
Maybe,
understand that.
kind of.
Could be,
Could be.
absolutely.
Okay. Well, we'll just address it at that time, but thank you for that clarification of that extra $40,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And while I'm at that, I just have another question as far as that is concerned. Just so that maybe I could keep up, I don't know, board members, if you are very interested, but do we have an architect budget, a site work budget, those different kinds of budget, so that we can, or do you have the total amount that each school is going to cost. I'd like a running total, because it would seem to me that as we get into building the schools, that the budget could increase.
So at this time, we are working through all the programming, what you're seeing for what we're offering, managing. We are working through the GMPs, negotiations with the contractor, and we'll have that overall budget for you as soon as we finish the negotiations. Things like labor burden, things, as we build out the budget and request. So right now, currently, we're finishing negotiations so that you have the overall GPM.
I was under the impression, though, that the is GPM?
No,
Or
GMP, sorry.
GMP, thank you. That the GMP was already agreed on. That's what we voted on, like the GMP. So the GMP is going to change?
It's not going to change. We have some things as we're working through, cost inflation, as we talked about during our presentation, of what things would cost. Remember, we're building this starting in another year. We were breaking ground here in April on the site. We did that GMP with you, and now we're just finishing the negotiations on the overall schools. The overall cost could fluctuate a little bit on the building as we go through based upon the programming of the building that we've been working on the pre-construction, that as we've been negotiating with the construction management team, Core and Remnant. So we'll have a final GMP that you will vote on when we finish that negotiation.
Oh, I just assumed that a GMP was a GMP and that was it. I
No,
didn't know
we've
that the
had multiple
GMP was
GMPs
subject to
that
change.
you've actually voted on, yes, ma'am.
That is,
Mrs. Richardson, sometimes, like a steel,
I'm sorry, Chairman Ingersoll, can I finish my conversation with?
well, I just wanted to help you understand, and I wanted to help Mr. O'Leary explain this to you, that like a steel package, when you go out for a steel package, it's only good for 60 days. So to say, lock you in for a price for a year is a little hard. That's why he says you're gonna have to go for numerous GMPs, is because sometimes the product, when I bid on certain things, it may change. So we will have this discussion quite a few times on certain items, particularly some of the changeovers that we have to do. So.
Okay, thank you for that. But again, I was under the impression that when we did that GMP, this is why I'm asking these questions, so that I can get an understanding. Now, I guess the consensus is that the GMP is going to change as we build the school. So therefore, the budget is going to change. So there is a running total. So that's what I'm asking for, that, so the running total is that like, how often do you do that GMP, or how often does that running total change? Because if I ask for one like this month, I mean, is it next 6 months, or how often do you have that running total change?
As soon as we finish all the packages that we're putting together, concrete, steel, all of those, we'll have a definite number for you, Ms. Richardson. Right now, we've done 2 GMPs that you have voted on. GMP 1 for the site work, GMP 2 last board meeting, you'll have seen those come across. We're finishing all the packages, all the bids that came in from our electrical contractors, all of those types of things. So we're gathering those together, and we'll have that final bid, the final cost for you. There may be additions if something has long lead items, those types of things that we're dealing with, that we'll bring forth to the board, which are voting items for you to look at.
I see. So the GMP is per specialty, like the electrical, they have their own GMP, and the people that does the concrete has their own GMP. So it's not a whole total like construction GMP. It's per.
And we break that out right now. We're gathering all that, and you'll have that final GMP, and we'll have the final expected cost.
And once you get that GMP settled, then it doesn't change after that? No.
Exactly, unless we run into some kind of issue or concern that we would have to bring back, or a change order, or if we couldn't get these types of doors or windows, we would have to bring you a change order, and you would vote on that. So, as we're moving through the process, there are change orders that go into place, but you'll have that overall GMP.
So what does that look like in the board agenda so that I know what I'm looking at?
Exactly what you're looking before you.
It looks like the 11, this 11.1.
11.2,
Okay, all right.
those types of.
All right, so that answered my question. Thank you. And thank you, Chairman Ingersoll.
And to be just a little bit more specific, it'll be under facilities and maintenance.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
thank you.
Any more discussion? Okay, we have a motion and a second. Those in,
I'm sorry, Superintendent, I hope the understanding is that I'd like to get the running total for the architect, we understand the site work, the construction, and the FFE, please.
Yes, ma'am. Send
All right.
part of the minutes, and we'll make sure you have that.
Mr. Superintendent, is that already on a spreadsheet, or is that something you have to work up? Do we have to work that up?
I'm not sure if it's on a spreadsheet, but I don't think it would take long for us to do.
Not more than an hour?
I don't think it'll take very long.
Okay, all right, just making sure that these are not things that you don't have already at hand. Thank you.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries. Moving to superintendent. Report, please.
Turn my mic on. All right, so a couple of things I just want to orient. We don't have too many folks in the audience today, but the folks we do have in the audience, I get to see every month for the most part. So I just wanted to make the public aware to a couple of new protocols we're going to have, and it's really about the safety and security of the folks on the dais. We have our Officer Schwartz, I think, off to the left or the right of me. So we're going to have some very clear signage. Usually board members go and mingle with the public prior to the meeting, and they will continue to do so. And they'll continue to do so after the meeting. We all step out and talk to the folks in the public. What we really want to avoid is people approaching the dais, before and after and even during the meeting. In addition to that is whenever we have unscheduled speakers, we've had folks fill out the forms and bring them up to the board secretary. That is going to change. We want to avoid that. So we'll have a staff member that will be collecting any unscheduled speakers, and my staff member will bring that to the board secretary. I just wanted to make sure the public is aware because it is a change of practice. And we'll also have plenty of signage and make sure that the folks on the dais are safe and secure, and it also protects the members of the public as well. So I just wanted to recognize a couple of things because we had some great events last week that really recognized Black History Month. We had the court's annual Youth Black History Month program that was last Friday. Dr. Mills, who's not here today, but her daughter is one of our judges, and many of the students were part of a contest, and some winners were awarded. So I just wanted to thank the members of the board that were at that event, and Mr. Kelly, Mrs. Richardson, Dr. Mills, and Mr. Ingersoll were all there. Mrs. Hawley couldn't make it because you were out of town, Mrs. Hawley. But immediately following that, there was a fantastic program at C.A. Moore, and I was joined there by Dr. Mills and Mrs. Richardson as well. And I thought it was just a wonderful event by that local community school. Today we had an EDC luncheon, and it was the first time I can recall the luncheon was sold out. Now,
And the tickets got inflated too.
but the reason I mention that is because there was a guest speaker there, and it was me. And I wanted to thank my staff for helping put together a great presentation, but the presentation really highlighted the partnership we have with the Economic Development Council, the successes of our district. We're ranked 5th in the state in successes, that is career and business, workforce development, industry certifications that our students earn. And I thought it was wonderful because really the program that I did showcased students talking about their experience in our public schools. And it was a truly wonderful event. I really appreciated my staff members and my leadership team. Some of you were there, but also some of you helped make that presentation possible. And I wanted to recognize Miss Lydia Martin, because you work behind the scenes to do wonderful work, and we just have great people. The other thing is, I mentioned it at the workshop, is the fair. We had many of our schools participated in the fair displays, and we had many winners. But the last day of the fair was on Sunday, and I was there last Sunday night. And it was just great to see a lot of our students there, and also our civic and business leaders that really come together to make that a great experience for our students. I also wanted to mention this, because this is hard to do, and that is food service. She's not here tonight, but Deb Wiest is the Director of Child Nutrition Services. I've not shared this with the board yet, but we had a perfect federal audit that we just completed, and that is hard to do. I mean, hard to do when you have not a single finding, and that covers operations, food procurement, menus, food quality, and preparation, but not a single finding by the federal audit. So I want to congratulate Mr. O'Leary. You've got a lot of departments that are direct reports to you, but food service is doing an outstanding job. A couple of other things. History Fair. We had the History Fair here, and that's an event for middle school and high school students. And we had a lot of 77 projects created by 112 students across 19 of our schools. And judges made recommendations for exemplary projects to advance to the state competition, which is going to be in Tallahassee in May. Athletically, I wanted to recognize a couple of students. Kyle Gray won the state championship for 170 pounds, Lincoln Park Academy in wrestling. So it's always great to have a local state champion. And we didn't have just one, but we had two. Gabby Perez from Fort Pierce Central won a state wrestling championship for the 135-pound weight class. So congratulations to them. Now, I'm not done with the Economic Development Council, because tomorrow is our counselor bus tour, and that's where school counselors tour local businesses to link our students to jobs. And we have a luncheon tomorrow, but I'm going to be joining the counselors on that bus tour, and it's a great opportunity for our counselors to really connect kids to local workforce development. We have our Arts in Our Schools Month concerts. We've got a number of schools on March 31st. The elementary course is at 6, the middle school, high school course is at 6:30, the middle school band's at 7, and the high school band's at 7:45. Last thing I wanted to mention, we have a job fair for bus drivers. We're one of the only districts in the state that does not have a critical bus shortage of drivers. However, we do have retirements coming up, and we want to make sure that we're fully staffed for next year. That's going to be Friday from 9 to 11:30. Lastly, as spring break is next week, we want to wish all of our students, our staff members, anybody in the public that's traveling with one of our children to have a safe, happy spring break, recharge, and then we all start back the following Monday. Last thing I wanted to say is, I mentioned a lot that the board attends these events. I want to thank the board. I really recognize the board today at the Economic Development Council, because you can only go as far as the board will take you, and I appreciate our board and working with each and every one of you. So thank you. Concludes my remarks.
Thank you, Mr. Superintendent, and you did a phenomenal job today. Excellent job. And I'll tell you something special about Lincoln Park, is that's a fairly new program, wrestling program at Lincoln Park. So what year is it, third or fourth? But they did a phenomenal job. What's that? Yeah, very new. So that's good. Excellent things going on in St. Lucie County. We're going to move to board member reports. Mrs. Richardson?
Thank you, Mr. Ingersoll. So I wanted to, first of all, my first comment is, I guess it's in the form of a question. Do we have a dress code policy, Mr. Superintendent, for the high schools? Is that what is a dress code policy? Yes.
We have a dress code, basically policy for the district that is posted, and each high school enforces that to different levels. Let's put it that way.
It's been brought to my attention about the dress code in the schools, actually. However, in keeping with the safe and secure learning environment, I thought that I would bring this up to the board, what a concern. And that concern is the dress, the way the young ladies are dressing at the schools. And it's not even necessarily about the dress as much as it's about making sure that it's a safe, board members, and caring work environment for our teachers. My concern is for our teachers, or in particular, our male teachers. I don't know if you've visited the schools, but if you do, you will see that we have various forms of, I don't even know how to express this, just of dress. Things are showing that not supposed to be showing. Things are where they're not supposed to be, or I think that our male teachers are going to have or having a time with this lack of dress code, or I'm trying to be very politically correct here right now. And I believe, board, that we should protect our male teachers. Every time you open or turn on the TV, you see something about sexual harassment or, whatever it is. And I believe that our teachers, our male teachers, are at risk right now. And I think that's, if the board members would agree that that would be something that we should be concerned about. And if you don't, just visit the schools, and maybe you'll see, that it could be a concerning factor. So that would be my plea to the board right now, that we protect our teachers. March is Women in History Month. I don't know what that means to a lot of us, but for me, a woman in history, when I think of a woman in history, I think of Mrs. Tubman, Rosa Parks, but I think of my grandmother. My grandmother came to the United States of America, and she worked as a maid. She went through the back door. She never came through the front door. And then she got promoted to the laundry room, where she did laundry. But when I asked her, Mimi, what do you do? Or, whatever, she would say, I am a maid. And she was so proud to say, I am a maid, or I work in the laundry room. You know why? Because she was taking care of her family. She was doing whatever she needed to make sure that her family would have a different kind of legacy. She was passing on a legacy. She was able to buy her first home in New Jersey, which is unheard of in our family, but she bought a home, and then a car, and she put us through college. She did all of this on a maid's salary and a laundry person's salary. And I say this to say, today, in this month, I honor my grandmother, because of her that I am sitting in this seat right now. She made it possible for me to get an education, or for my mother to get an education, another legacy passed on, and then another legacy, and then another legacy. So today, month of March, I honor my grandmother. And I'm just saying that to say to you all, who do you honor as a woman in history? Thank you. So I'm going to move on to the courthouse. I visited the courthouse, and I was amazed at the talent in our in our students. And even so, at CA Moore, these were babies, but they were giving it everything that they had. There was this young man that said a poem, and I wish I could remember his poem. We had these little second graders that were dancing, and I mean, they were dancing. Then we had a teacher who, she was invited by Amazon to what is, help me, Mr. Superintendent,
She's also a fashion designer.
a fashion designer,
And,
thank
and
you.
her designs are being sold by Amazon in a limited fashion. It's quite the honor for her to be selected for her impressive designs.
Yeah, she had her QR code. The superintendent took out his phone and was clicking. So I expect that Mrs. Prince is going to be getting something from Amazon. And Meredith, you know, you just never know. But I thought that that was such an honor for somebody. She's from Jamaica also, you know, and a rising star, you know, to get that honor. So to say that I'm proud of her, you know, and proud of all the things that the school is doing and all the schools are doing is an understatement. So kudos to CA Moore. I just wanted, last but not least, to ask if you could, Superintendent, provide me with the, I know you provided us with the PM1 and the PM2. If you could please just add the charter schools to that report. I think you should have that data already. Well, let me ask Superintendent, do you have that data?
Yeah, we should be able to pull that. All the schools take it. Dan, you pull those reports, right, Mr. Frank?
Would it be a
Or Bridget.
problem to put that data to the one that we already have?
Yeah, we should be able to add that.
Okay, and as usual, if I could get that in the form of just a hard copy, that would be nice. You could just give it to Mrs. Harrison. She could put it in my office for me. That would be wonderful. And to all of our students, teachers, and staff, have yourself an awesome spring break. Thank you.
If I could just interject really quickly, Chairman, I believe we skipped over
skipped you.
20.1. You skipped me, and that's okay, because I have no report tonight. Thank you, Chairman, and members of the board. But we skipped 20.1
Bring it
approval.
back to that.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
okay.
No, I
Thank you.
was. No, with Mrs. Holly's travel, I'm going to Tallahassee to represent us. Yes, ma'am. Mr. Kelly?
Yes, I just want to compliment John today on a great job at the EDC, and the material was perfect, and the delivery was just as good, and it did us proud, and I don't have any other report. Thank you.
Mrs. Holly? I'll report for Mrs. Holly that we both worked at FFA booth, and she got the better job than I did. I was the French fryer.
That's
Quite a few
because
of
I
them got
there-
burned, believe it or not.
That's because I got there first, Mr. Ingersoll.
I know. From now on, I know to be on time because that was an intense job. When you start seeing 50 people in line, I'm just like, it's a whole lot easier taking money. Thank you, Ms. Holly, for doing that. And we also participated in the History Fair and Project Citizen. Odyssey of the Mind, which Ms. Holly was at too, was a phenomenal event. Thank you, Mr. Superintendent, Dr. Prince, for letting St. Lucie County host it. I remember when we have to go down to Suncoast, and it was 95% St. Lucie County and 5% everybody else. And it's just nice to be able to stay in our hometown and let everyone else be intimidated. It's true. The kids go, wow, this is a big school. We walk into Treasure Coast, guys, this is our school. So it's a good feeling. It's a great feeling. That's about basically all I wanted to report on. And again, Mr. Superintendent, you did a phenomenal job. It was a home run. Our community appreciated it, and it's always good to have our business partners, particularly Pete Tesh and the Economic Development Council, and everybody else that does foreshadowing of the community and where we want to go, to be on board of the mission of Vision in St. Lucie County. Right now, I do need to jump back because I did skip one. Attorney's report? I know you said no report, but I figured I'd let you say it again.
Thank you, Chairman Ingersoll, members of the board, Superintendent. There's no report tonight.
And we do have to approve Ms. Holly out-of-district travel going to legislation in Tallahassee. Can I get a motion? Because this is our report.
So approved.
So move. I got a motion. Do I have a second? Second. Any discussion? Seeing none. Those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Right now, we're going to go ahead and move into scheduled speakers. Ms. Galliano.
Gail Galliano, St. Lucie.
Ms. Galliano, can you move the microphone down a little bit, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
How's that? Have to say that the workshop last week was interesting to say the least, but not surprising considering what I've experienced with regards to the challenge books since 2021. Interesting PowerPoint filled with interesting numbers, highlights, Florida laws, statutes to direct you for your decision that will be voted on April 11th. Come to find out of the 41,000 plus students in St. Lucie County, we were told that 65 parents put in for no access of any books to their children, saying that they knew their kids would lose them, misplace them, and just not return them, and they'd have to pay the fine. Then 117 parents did put in restricted access, be it genre or specific books, so that you know that makes 0.43% of the parents look at what is available in the school libraries for their children. Interesting. Not that the parents don't care or have concerns when it comes to this, but they seem to feel that they have voted for a board to look out for this type of crazy, evil stuff that's in the school libraries. Without headlines, they don't even believe that the books even exist. Equally, they don't know that the non-elected staff that puts together the information for things like this, that the board make all their decisions and votes on. For example, 2 Florida statutes were highlighted in the workshop. Now, these laws are very good, solid, and there is other laws that also intertwine with these statutes. 2 additional statutes stating that the books need to be suited to student needs. Excellent. And their ability to comprehend the material presented. Statute 100634 says any instructional material containing pornography or otherwise prohibited in statute 847.012 may not be used or made available within any public school. All I'm saying is beware of all laws. Considering that you are the ones the voting public are entrusting their children to, I think it is important for you to really think hard and do your own due diligence of all the information, recommendations that you have been given. It will be you that will have to answer for this vote, and it will be you will be the ones responsible, if not now or maybe down the road, if there is a problem or a tragedy. So take that to heart. Ephesians 6:12, our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of the dark world, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. We see it every day, the manipulation, the lies, the indoctrination, disrespect from those of power and behind the scenes. This world is dealing with evil now, and we all see it every day, and is being attacked from all sides. Lord, I pray and ask that you now put a hedge of protection around this board. Give them clarity and wisdom. Let them see what these books can possibly do to your children. Lord, you gave me this mission to show them what is going on and what is coming available to the most vulnerable, valuable, and innocent, your children. Lord, may this board understand that this is a moment in time for them to take a stand against those who are against what is right, moral, decent, and of your word. 2 Corinthians 5:10, for all of us must appear before Christ to be judged by him, We will each receive what we deserve according to everything we have done, good and bad, in our body of life. I know what I will be answering. Do you? In Jesus' name I pray for all of you. Amen.
Well, thank you, Mrs. Galliano. Just in case, Susan Cedenio? I know, just for the record. Eddie Evans? Seeing none? All right, that's all for our scheduled speakers. Board members, that concludes our meeting. Hopefully y'all have a good spring break. Thank you so much.